Hey everybody. Welcome to the Learning Sunday, where we learn together. I asked Twitter what they wanted to learn. Everyone gave me a bunch of options. I put the top 4 that I saw in a poll, and you guys chose periods. And then I got a lot of tweets being like, remember, you have a boy audience. Yes, I do. 17% of my viewers are boys. I'm pretty sure that 17% know very minimal things about a period. And don't you think that something that happens to almost every single woman on this planet, boys should learn about? I don't know. I think that everyone should be informed about a menstrual cycle. If you don't want to hear about it, you can go ahead and click off. But for those of you who are still watching this, I'm gonna teach you all I know. And I even looked things up on the internet to see if there were extra things that I didn't know. And I did! I found out things that I didn't know. So, let's begin this video, shall we? Let's learn together. What is a period? A period is also known as menstruating. In layman's terms, it's when blood comes out of your vagina for 3 to 7 days every month. Each woman has a different time frame, a different reaction, a different amount of blood. Every woman's period is different. It's like your fingerprint or a snowflake. Everything's different. Let's talk about when we get our period. I wrote out notes because I wanted to get this right. The average age that people start their period is age 12. You can start between ages 8 to 15, and it's usually you start it once you develop breasts. You should have your period within 3 years of developing boobs, but you don't know when you're gonna start. It's usually hereditary. If you're like in junior high, if you're like 7th, 8th grade, you're like, I haven't got my period yet, I'm weird. You're not weird. You are blessed, child. That's a free year you got there. Because guess what? They suck. Oh, I need to just say this. Periods suck. You get your period like, oh my gosh, congratulations. No, my condolences. The only positive part of having a period is that means one day you can maybe probably have a baby. That's it. So you just put up with years and years, because your period doesn't usually end until you go through menopause, which is usually between the ages of 45 and 55, and menopause lasts between 2 and 8 years. So, by the way, if you have a mother between the ages of 45 and 55, and you've kind of heard maybe that she's going through menopause, you haven't picked it up, whatever, just know that her mood might shift a little. She'll get hot flashes, so if you're like sitting in a cold room and all of a sudden your mom just starts sweating profusely and is like, she's going through a hot flash, she can't help it, it's menopause. It means that her period is starting to stop existing. So congratulations to her, but have a little sympathy because she's gone through a lot that she can't control. That was a tangent, okay. So why do we have periods? We have periods for a few different reasons, but basically it's so you can potentially have a baby. It also lets us know that our bodies are working in a proper manner because they provide healthy hormones that we need for our bodies to function properly. So why they happen each month. So what happens is a period, your uterus is basically preparing for its egg to be fertilized. If it's not fertilized in that month, then the whole process starts over again. So every single month, your body is preparing for you to get pregnant. And then you don't, and it's like, ugh! Gotta clean out house. All right, everyone get out. So if you don't fertilize your egg, your period's gonna keep coming on. Now, how often should you have your period? There's a period cycle. It starts from the day you have your period, and then the cycle goes until the next period. And usually that length of time is 28 days. So day 1 of your period, oh, okay, that's day 1. And then 28 days later, you'll have another period. This cycle is average 28 days. But in adult women, it can range from 21 to 35 day cycles. And then in young teens, it can be 21 to 45 day cycles. And then once you're older, it starts getting a little bit more regular. Okay, I think we've really covered what a period is, but we don't really care. We don't care about what our egg's doing. What we really care about, and I'm sure what you guys really want to know, are what are the side effects and how to take care of them. So, cramping, bloating, PMS, having to deal with blood coming out of your vagina. Some girls don't really ever get cramping. Some girls get really bad cramps. If you get cramps, you can take Midol, Advil, Tylenol, basically any ibuprofen. In other countries, there's stuff like Midol, so you just have to figure out what that is. I don't know. I don't know what country you're in or what they serve you. But for cramps, you can use heating pads. When sometimes I didn't have a heating pad, like I'd be on a trip or something, and I would just overuse my laptop until that got super hot, and then I just stick that right there in the cramping area, and it would help. Bananas help. It's the potassium inside of them. Potassium is really good to help your cramps. A lot of times cramps are really painful because you're dehydrated. So drink a lot of water, water. Sometimes pooping helps. This sounds really weird, but your body is cramping and sometimes your body just feels like it needs to do something to help. You just feel like you gotta poop, so you poop and you feel a little better. Maybe emotionally, I don't know. Also, I heard hot baths help. Also, just crying. Crying from the pain helps. Other things that happen, bloating. You just kind of feel a little bloated. You just live with it. It's okay. PMS. Before your period, you're a little emotionally out of whack. Just be aware of it. And then the worst part of your period, the blood. Now, a lot of girls ask me about tampons. You don't have to use them if you don't want to. It's sticking something up there. A lot of girls who just start the period haven't stuck much up there or anything. That's okay. You don't have to use tampons. There are pads. It's just like this sticker. You just stick it on your underwear, and then once that's full, you can kind of feel it that it's full. You put it in the trash and you stick on a new one. That's probably the easiest to deal with. It has to be so overwhelming. It was overwhelming. When you first start your period, you don't know much, and you go down that pad tampon aisle, and it's just full of things. You don't know what you want. There are cardboard applicators, there's plastic applicators, there are no applicators, there's pads, there's scented, there's non-scented, there's different sizes. I feel like this is what girls really wanted when they asked me to teach them about periods, because I got a lot of questions about tampons. There are light, regular, super, and super plus. It depends on your flow. Your first few periods in life are probably gonna be a little light, so you'll use a light or a regular tampon. And you should use the lowest absorbency tampon you can for that flow for that day. So if you have a super heavy flow, a super or a super plus tampon would probably be best, but if you're on a super light day, you probably shouldn't use a super plus tampon because it can cause toxic shock syndrome, which I will get to later. So you just have to choose the tampon based on that day for you. You could be all light all days. Fantastic. Oh my God. Congratulations. So you use light or regular. You should change your tampon between 4 to 8 hours. Don't leave it in for super long because that can also cause toxic shock syndrome. If you're scared of toxic shock syndrome, use a pad. Sometimes when you're in your period and you use a tampon, sometimes they leak. They'll leak. So a lot of women also use panty liners when using tampons. So I'm gonna teach you how a tampon works the way my mother taught me, except this time we aren't gonna be in a Taco Bell parking lot. We're gonna be in my office. This is a tampon. This is it. This is all it is. There's gonna be a little string here. This plastic thing is the applicator. This is gonna go in at an angle. There's instructions on the box, or you can just feel around, but it's gonna go up to here, okay? So this is your vagina hole. You're gonna put it in until your fingers hit the end. This is like a divot to show you where your fingers go. This goes in at an angle, and then you push up with your thumb, and so the tampon, this is the actual tampon, will go further up your vagina. And then once that's up, you pull this back out, you put this in the trash. Bye. Go away. And then you'll have this little string hanging out of your vagina. When this gets full, this is how my mother taught me. This is water, okay? But this would be blood. So this is gonna get whoop, bloop, 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 bloop. It expands when blood hits it. Okay. It's been like 6 hours. I feel like my tampon's a little full. Find the string, kind of dig around sometimes. You just pull it out slowly. Don't just yank it. Don't yank it. That's just bad. You just pull it out. Bloop. That's it. You throw it away. Some women flush it. I've read that plumbers get very mad at you because it can clog the whole drain system. So you just wrap it in a paper towel, wrap it in some toilet paper, and then you toss it. This is done. This is trash. That's how a tampon works. So your first few times you put it in, it's probably gonna feel wrong. It's gonna feel weird. All the tips I can give you, it has to go in at an angle, and then also you just kind of have to open wide. This sounds strange, but there have been times where I just put my leg up on the sink like this, and it's wide, and you just stick it up there. So you just have to figure it out. You just have to be comfortable, because if you're tense, things are gonna tighten up. So, side note, if you haven't started menstruating by 15, maybe consider go seeing your doctor. It's probably not a big deal, but it's nice to get checked. You should also go see a doctor if your period has stopped for more than 90 days. If you had extremely regular cycles and then they get extremely irregular, go see your doctor. If your period occurs more often than 21-day cycles, if you're bleeding heavily than you normally do, like you're using a pad or a tampon and you're changing it every 1 to 2 hours, like it's that heavy, it shouldn't be that heavy, so you should go see your doctor. If you start bleeding in between periods, or if you have severe pain other than just normal cramps, if you suddenly get a fever from using tampons, which is the side effect of toxic shock syndrome. Other signs that you're TSS: fever, muscle aches, diarrhea, vomiting, dizziness, a sunburn-like rash, sore throat, and bloodshot eyes. These are all signs. Just be aware of it. It's super rare, but it can be deadly. So just know if you leave tampons in too long, or if you use a too high absorbency for a really light right day. This can cause toxic shock syndrome. So just be aware, and I don't want to freak you all out. I just felt that it's my duty making this video, trying to be educational, that I tell you guys about it. I also got a lot of questions about what causes a late period or an irregular period. A lot of things can cause your period to be late or stop. I made a list. Pregnancy, breastfeeding, extreme weight loss, eating disorders, excessive exercising, stress, and a serious mental condition in need of treatment. And eating disorders. So a lot of girls that are anorexic will stop having their period, or their period will become extremely irregular because your body needs the nutrients. As I said before, a period is a sign of a healthy body. And then excessive exercising. There's a lot of Olympic gymnasts who lost their period because their fat to muscle ratio is so off. They have so much muscle that their period becomes irregular or stops altogether. And then stress causes it. And that what happens to a lot of girls is their period's a day late just because whatever, that's normal. And then they stress out because they think they're pregnant. And that stress, that freak out makes their period start even later. So just know, if you've been really super stressed and your period's a day late, you stress even more, it's probably gonna be even later. So there are so many reasons why your period can be late or regular. If it becomes an issue or there's other side effects and you think something's wrong, go see your doctor. They aren't scary. They're there to help. I think I've covered everything. If there are any more questions, please ask them to me in the comments below, on Twitter, DM me, Facebook message, whatever you want. I will try and tell you the answer. Don't be ashamed of your period. It's not like you chose it. It's not like it's only happening to you. Almost every woman goes through it, and it's a very natural thing. You can't stop it. You're gonna have a period for like 40 years. Between 30 and 40 years, you're stuck with this thing. Every single month, you're going to bleed. And also, it's not just a constant flow. I should point this out. It's not like a water bottle full of blood just constantly pouring out of your vagina. It comes in spurts, and it's like slowly. It's not like you take out a tampon, and it's like whoosh. Although sometimes when you pee, you'll look down and there's like a clot of blood. I call those blood babies. They happen. It's a very heavy period. It's not that. It's like it'll slowly drip out, basically, is what it is. Don't be scared of it. You'll get used to it. All right, that's it for today. I hope I've taught you guys something. This is what I didn't know. I didn't know that you shouldn't use a high absorbency tampon on a low flow day. I didn't know that that was not good. And so I'm glad I did this video. I learned something. Hopefully I've taught you something, or I've just made you feel a little bit more comfortable about periods, because I don't know why the world is so uncomfortable about them. Anyway, I love you guys. Please give it a thumbs up if it helped. Share it with someone who you think might need it. Please tweet me other suggestions for other videos. What do you want to learn? Because I'm down to teach anything, clearly. But remember guys, above all else, stay awesome, possums.